Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Dennis Duke Uganda is my name. If you're new here, please subscribe. I promised you I won't be the only one talking on this channel, but I'll be featuring a couple of other people doing different enterprises, but that only in agriculture. Today we're going to talk about goat farming, and one person, well, he's not very old, that has been doing amazing work when it comes to goat farming is just seated right besides me. Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank
How
you
are you,
very
mister?
much. I'm very okay.
How is the farming business going on?
The farming business is having some challenges, but at least I'm seeing that everyone should come to board and start farming. I'm
glad you've given us an opportunity to speak with you tonight and to also, address our viewers on a couple of questions that they've been, yearning to get answers from. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have this chip chat for a couple of minutes, but in this chip chat, we're going to understand a couple of questions. What does it take for one to start? What is the cost of starting up a goat farm? How should one build a pen, among many other things? And therefore, do not go away. So ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we are joined by one enterprising farmer, and his name is none other than Kalema Hakim. First things first, what should somebody do when they want to start up a goat farm?
If at all you want to start up a goat farm, first and foremost, you have to make a research on what you want to start. Because you cannot just go for a venture when you don't have enough knowledge for it. Secondly, you have to know the resources that you need at the farm or you have at the hand to see that if at all you start, you don't get the challenges when you have just started. When you are done with the research and you have gone, you can make online research or you can do physical research. You can go to the farmers that have already started that business, or you can go online and you also research on goat farming business. After that, there are some resources that you need at hand. First and foremost, you need land. You have to be with land. The size of the land that we shall go into details, but any land you can start with goat. You can do zero grazing, you can do free range system, but that depends on the land that you have. And another thing, you have to know the market of the business you want to start. You cannot just start something that really does not have market. We have a lot of goats that have that gives us meat, that give us milk. But if at all the nearest market that you have is for milk goats, then you can start with the goats that are for milking. And that one goes back to what I started, that if at all you have research, you have done really good research, I'm assuring you that you cannot fail in this business.
Okay. Yes. So after the research, you have the capital. How much are we talking about here?
It depends on how you want to start, because everyone is having a different status. You can say that your goal, you want to achieve 2,000 goats in a shortest time. Others can say that I want 100. Others can say that I need 50. So now if at all I want to go with 50 goats, then that means that the resources I need are really down than the other one who wants 2,000 goats for a time. So if at all you want to start with 50 goats, then you have to know that how much land you need. For that, if at all you have like 2 acres or 1 acre, I'm assuring you that you can do goat farming business on a zero grazing system.
Okay, on a zero grazing system on 1 acre.
Yes.
Let's try to break down, because somebody out there could be having 1 acre, yes, and they could be having capital to start up maybe a goat farm of 50, yes, but they don't know exactly how much, like the total cost that is going to take them up. Let's talk about the structures. How much should the structure cost? I don't know.
Now, the structure, it depends on what structure you want to put in place. There are some people can put up raised structures, others can put up non-raised structures, depending on what you are having in your pocket.
Okay.
But if at all you want to minimize a lot of challenges, like the diseases, the breezes, and other challenges that may come because of a non-raised structure, then you can go with a raised structure. For a raised structure, it can take you like the structure of 50 goats, you can spend like 4 million. For a non-raised structure, you can spend like 2 million on that structure. Then after that, if at all you have land, but if at all you don't have land, then the cheapest land you can get an acre is like between 7 million to 10 million, depending on the location where you want to buy. Another thing, you have to look at the quality of the animals that you want to keep, because you might put money in something that really it's going to take a lot of money, but the outcome or the earnings are going to be very low because of low growth rate, poor weight gain. But if at all you choose the quality animals that you want to really keep, like the savannas, here I'm talking about the hybrids, the savannas, the red Kalahari, the boas, others can opt to go with the mubendes. But if you are a starter, I want to tell you that you can start with something that may be easy, but when you are having a goal for doing quality things, because if at all you want to buy a goat, a hybrid, a mother, they start from 450 and above. But if at all you want to buy a mubende or a local, it is between 200 to 250. If you want to start and you're a youth and you don't have that money for the hybrids, then you can crossbreed. You can decide to start with the local, that is the mubende females, and you buy a hybrid male. With that, you are crossbreeding, and the kids that you are going to get for the first generation, it will be a cross. And a cross, that one depends on the percentage. We won't go inside there, but at least I'm assuring you, when you start with that start, it won't be very costly, but you are going to get some good results in the time come.
Okay, so you've talked about a couple of breeds. You said boas, which are exotic, boas,
Yes.
Kalahari, Savannah. Those are the exotics.
Yes,
and then the local ones?
The local ones, we have the mubende. Other people call it mubende, but there are a lot of local goats there out. We have some from Kayunga, we have others from Bale.
So all those are categorized under mubende?
Under mubende.
They are local?
Yes.
Why didn't the name mubende is so popular?
It is popular because many goats that started, those goats that were giant, yet they were local, they came from mubende. Yes. So
that makes the name mubende become very popular when it comes to goat farming. Yes. In Uganda. Let's talk about which breed specifically should somebody rear. Is it because, well, if I can't get the boas, let me resort to mubende? Which one do you advise? Because we are looking at farming as a business, not just farming, oh, let me have a goat or something at home. No, we want somebody to set up their farm as a business, something that they expect to get returns within a specified period of time.
Yes. Thank you very much. Of course, all goat breeds are good, but there is what we call that this breed is best. Okay. Best according to what? Of course, it is best according to the growth rate. It is best according to the weight gain. You understand? So if at all you want to come into goat farming business, I would recommend, if at all you want to sell your goat at 7 months, then that means you cannot sell a local goat at that age. Okay. But if at all really you want to to see that the business comes out very well and you are into the business, you're not just playing, then I recommend exotic breeds for the meat production.
Okay. One thing that perhaps we did not talk about in the beginning is Mr. Hakim has a YouTube channel under the names of KIMD Construction and Farm Consults Limited, isn't it so?
Yes, please.
So please go there. He uploads videos every other week and these videos are really amazing. You can also start by subscribing to his YouTube channel so that he gains the viewership and you guys get to learn a couple of things because, well, I'm overwhelmed with a lot of stuff. I do rabbits, I do chickens, I do goats, I do these. It's a mixture. But when you go to his YouTube channel, you'll get exactly what you want to learn from. So please go ahead, follow him on social media. That is Facebook, Twitter, I think at KIMD, right?
Yes,
Consults.
yes.
So please go out and follow him. Let's now go to the basics of, starting up a goat's farm.
Yes.
How much space? You talked about space, but in terms of 50, I want you to quantify the space. Is it, if I'm building a structure, I could perhaps say, let me just build 20 feet by 30 feet. How much, like I want to know, somebody wants to know maybe 50 or 100 goats or 200 goats, the space that they need.
Yes, thank you very much. Of course, many goats have different sizes, yes, but average, when we say that we talk about average, each goat, if at all we talk about the open space, because there is that open space, the exercising ground, those goats have to exercise, and there is the space we call closed space. For the closed space, we need for each goat, and there I'm talking about the average goat, it needs like 7 to 10 square feet in a closed environment. But if at all you are talking about the open space, then there we need, you have to double the space of the closed the environment of a goat.
By closed, you mean like in a structure?
Yes, in a structure.
And then open?
Open, I mean the exercising ground.
How important is that exercising ground? I mean, I've had a lot of people talk about the exercising ground, but I haven't gotten an opportunity to ask why the exercising ground is very important when it comes to goat farming.
The exercising ground has a lot of importance, and one that I would recommend why everyone needs an exercising ground is these goats, when they're in the structure, they come to the structure just to go away from the harsh environment, let's say a lot of sunshine, rainfall, or wind. But if at all, even goats can sleep on a bare land if at all there is no structures, because they need a lot of aeration and the structure limits them. Goats, if at all they are outside, they need such vitamin D, and that vitamin D is from the sun, and the structure is shielding that to particular areas of the structure. So it is very good for a farmer, because actually I have not finished all of the importance of exercising ground, but if at all you want your goats to get all the nutrients from the natural, then you have to provide them with the exercising ground. Okay. And that exercising ground must be having some specifications. You don't allow any green matter in the exercising ground.
Why not allow the green matter? Because
that green matter can attempt a goat to eat. If it eats and it's where it puts its droppings, that means that that green matter is already contaminated. Okay. If at all that goat eats, then it's going to be infected. So that's why we say that you have to make sure that there is not any green matter. And you have to sweep it regularly, not every day, but at least you have to keep it a routine.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Something that we also didn't talk about in the beginning is we have a lot of ventures in the country. There are people who are involved in chicken farming. There is me who is into rabbit farming. There is another that is in goats, or rather cow or sheep. There is another that is in fish farming. Why exactly did you choose goat farming?
I have passion of goats.
Okay.
That is the first and foremost. I love goats. And when I was still young, of course, at home, that is the venture that we were having.
Okay.
And I grew up, actually, we had many ventures, even the birds, the cows. But for me, I got pressure in goat farming. So I decided to put it on another level of commercialization.
We were having a chat a couple of minutes back, and you said you have roughly around 3 farms that you run, right?
Yes.
Somebody would be wondering, when did you start?
I started goat farming business in 2015.
Okay.
2015 is when I started to do real commercial goat farming.
Okay.
And Kimdi Farms Uganda, we have 3 sections, and the first section is in Mubende, another section is in Imbarara, another section is the demonstration farm where we are in Bugema, right along Zero Gaza Road. Okay.
Perfect. I hope now you know where he is actually found and when his journey started. When he says he started in 2015, that makes him have an experience of about 7 years, right? Yes. So dealing with a person of an experience of 7 years is something really commendable that I do advise you to take on, at least from him. So let's talk about how long does it take a goat to grow before it actually gives birth?
To reach the maturity age.
Exactly.
For the, of course, I told you that you have different breeds. When we come to our exotic breeds, that is Muvende, no, that is Savannah, Dua, and Red, they mature and you can give them the male at 7 months. But at 5 months, you can even eat that goat. It is ready for slaughtering.
And then the local ones?
The local ones, it can go up to 1.5 years.
Ah, that's before it actually gives you a child.
Yes.
And what about maturity in terms of eating the meat?
In terms of the eating the meat, to gain, if at all you want something that is having some good weight, then it can take you to a year.
Ah, so meaning at the end of the day, somebody that is rearing exotic breeds is far much better than somebody rearing local breeds. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, I can say that the one that is grazing or keeping exotic is much 3 times than that one that is rearing local breeds.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about what these goats eat. What do they eat? Just any grass found on the garden?
Goats eat grass. But we specify the grasses. Of course, there are some grasses that have a lot of nutrients than others. Now, if at all you want to do commercialization, then you have to know the specific grasses that your goats need. To see that you hit your target that you want. First of all, you need to know the grasses, and there are a lot of grasses outside there. But you have to look for the grasses that are rich in proteins, are rich in carbohydrates, such that your goat have energy, your goat put on the weight very much or very fast. Now, I'm going to tell you like some of the grasses that you need. You need Chloris Guyana. Chloris Guyana is very good for grazing openly. You can let your animals and go there and graze. And if at all you want to make hay, then it is very perfect for hay. Even people of rabbits use it. You have to if at all you need sugars for the energy for your animals, you have to put sugar napier, as you can see, or you can use what we call sugar graze or the millet, if at all you know it.
Oh, millet, you can grow millet.
Yes, and you make silage out of it. Or you can grow maize, maize, and you make silage out of it. If at all you need proteins.
Wait, if I don't make silage out of the maize, it can't eat, it can't get the nutrients.
Always, at the time we cut that maize, it is at the milk stage. And at that milk stage, if at all you don't make silage, then you are going to lose the whole stock of that plant. Because the goat, when you just bring it there, they will just eat the leaves, and they leave that stem, and then you have made a loss. But if at all you want that maize to be consumed thoroughly well, then you have to chop it.
Okay.
You can chop it with our machines that we use to chop, or you can use the panga and you chop it into small particles and you give to your animals. They will eat it.
Okay.
And they will really gain the nutrients out of the maize. Okay. Another thing, you have to plant alfalfa. Alfalfa is good for protein and is good for the milking goats, lactating goats. It is good for the pregnant mothers as a supplement to them, and it is good for these animals, the kids that want to start eating.
Okay.
So I recommend all of the grasses, don't leave out alfalfa.
Ah, so then there is also lab.
The lab is there, centrosema. We have the legumes. If at all you want to plant the sugar napier, you need nitrogen fixation in the land. So you have to come up with the legumes, to plant the legumes. The legumes, we have the mukuna.
Okay.
It is very, very good. It is wild.
Mukuna, you mean the
velvet beans.
Velvet beans. There's black. They are black in color.
Yes.
When they are seeds.
Yes.
And then they grow big.
Yes.
Those goats also feed on them.
Yes.
They feed on the leaves.
Yes, they feed on the leaves.
We've seen people recently come up with different ideas of making commercial feeds. Yes. Say, for example, pellets. Some give them maize brands. What do you say about that?
Pellets are in different categories. There are those for growers, the general. So if at all you have to know what they use to make those pellets and which nutrients they are in the pellets, because you can give the goats and you end up when you are getting bloat, and the goats will bloat and they die. So you have to know, and you have to know the weight of the goats and how much of the pellets you have to give it, not just come and you give them. Okay. So for the kids, if at all they want to start feeding, you can give them little and they start from there, but of a general pellets, not the growers for the rabbits, because many people think that the rabbits are the only animals that you have to give pellets. Even the goats you can give them, but what have you mixed in those to get the pellets out of them? Yes.
Talking about bloating in one of your statements just a few seconds ago, let's go into, because I understand bloating in rabbit farming. I hope it's the same in goat farming.
Yes.
So extensively talk about bloating, what exactly it is, and also talk about a couple of diseases that do affect goats in general.
Thank you. Bloating, it is a disease that can attack a goat and dies in a second. It comes about a goat can eat something and it fills up the stomach, and after filling up the stomach, the digestive part, the digestive system is blocked, and eventually the goat dies. That one, usually it's brought about very many things, but some of them, it is eating a poisonous plant or feeding on something that is undigestible. If at all you put something like graze, let me talk about maize, and those maize corns, and you give the goats, if at all they eat them and they cannot be smashed in the rumen or in the stomach of the goat, then eventually your goat will get bloat and it cannot pass out. Eventually it dies. The diseases I can talk about that really are affecting us, we have the bacterial diseases and the viral diseases. Okay. The viral diseases are very many, but what affects us very much here in Uganda, we have the PPR. It is very much, and everyone, if at all you want to start goat farming business, you have to see that you vaccinate your animals against that disease. We have the off. The off, of course, can disturb if at all you have a very big herd. But that one, it has a prevention, and you can prevent your animals from feeding during very early in the morning or very late in the evening. So you can decide to take your goats at around 11 a.m. Another disease, and that disease usually affects the kids. Those are the clostridial diseases. Clostridial diseases, it is a combination of 3 diseases, that is Clostridial C and D, and the tetanus. So if at all you can vaccinate the mother during the late stages of the pregnancy, or you can vaccinate the kids if at all you bought a goat when you are not certain if at all it was vaccinated, then you can vaccinate the kid at 3 to 4 weeks, and you give it a booster dose at 8 weeks. Another disease that really it is affecting us, that one is brought about the structures. The sneezing, the coughing. If at all your structure is not well aerated, you cannot chase away those diseases. Because every time there is no enough air in the structure, and goats will end up sneezing, you will treat and will bring every medicine that is very good for those diseases. But if at all your structure is not good, you cannot eliminate that. With a standard structure, it can help you to eliminate like 75% of the diseases that can affect your goats.
Yes. So those are the bacterial and viral diseases.
Yes.
And then the bloating that you talked about. Let's talk about handling. Are they called kits as well? Because in rabbits they are called kits.
They are kids.
Yes. How do you prepare, first of all, when you're going to receive kits?
Of course, these kids are the profits of the business. So you have to be very serious when you want to handle those kids. First and foremost, you have to make sure that you have the place where they are going to sleep. You have prepared that place where they are going to sleep, and that means that you are not going to mix it with other goats. After that, you have to make sure that that space is enclosed well, but well aerated. You can get what I mean. It is enclosed well that if at all it rains, it does not get, the water cannot enter inside, but you have to make sure it is well aerated to let out the bad smell. Another thing, those goats, the kids are so vulnerable that they don't want to sleep on a bare floor. Then you have to provide with dry grass, and you can put some sacks on top, and you put your goats there. So that one comes, if at all you want to make commercial goat farming, you have to hire a caretaker who is specifically going to look after the goats, because they usually die at 2 months, 1 week. That period is very, very important for the kids. You
talked about vaccination of goats. Somebody out there is like, there are people who are against vaccination. What do you say about that?
Vaccination, if at all you can say that you are against vaccination, then we shouldn't vaccinate even human beings. That means, vaccination means that you are putting something inside the body of an animal or a person to fight in case the same bacteria or the same virus comes into your body. That means that you are ready for any outbreak that may come to your farm. For the people that are having less than 10 goats, those ones they can be reluctant. But if at all you are really putting your farm on a standard and a commercial, then you have to vaccinate. That is a must. You have to vaccinate, because the outbreaks, even the people that come to your farm, you don't know where they have passed. Such things, and you end up losing the animals because of those viral diseases I've talked about. The PPR. The PPR can put down the herd of 1,000 goats in a week. And all of them, they are dead. So if at all you don't want to see that surprise, and you get disgusted of the business, then you have to do what you are supposed to do.
Something that you also mentioned in the beginning about raised structures and ground structures. Is it just a matter of price difference, or are there specific benefits when you use a raised structure over the ground structure?
Everywhere you go, even if you get a farmer, a big farmer, when his structures are on the ground, he will automatically tell you that the raised structure is best. In terms of disease eradication, if at all you raise your structure, then that means you have chased the bacteria and all the diseases down, and you have left your animals' health on top.
Okay.
That means that if at all you have a non-raised structure or a ground structure, you have to make sure that you are very, very keen in terms of hygiene. If at all, many people are having farms, but they fail and really fail because of the structures. And when they call us to go and inspect certain things, you find that they have the caretakers, but they take like 5 days minus cleaning those structures. So animals, every day or every week, a vet doctor is needed at that farm. But for a raised structure, when you raise your structure, it is not a matter of raising the ground, but there are some specific things that we put into consideration to see that it is a standard raised structure. You have to make sure that the droppings go down and the urine, and your structure is dry all the time. With that, I say that the raised structure is best, and your animals, as I told you, that you have prevented 75% of the problems that would have come to your farm if your structures are raised. Okay,
let's talk about the spacing, because if somebody would want to do a slated structure or a floor and they don't know of the spacing, is it 1 centimeter, 1 meter? What is the spacing in here?
The spacing of the planks, you have to leave between 1 inch and 1.5 inch, dependingly.
Okay.
Yes.
So that the droppings are able to go through. They are
able to go through.
Okay. That applies to the urine as well.
Yes, please.
Okay. Under your exercising ground, I saw some place actually cemented. Is the exercising ground supposed to be cemented?
No. That one, the reason why mine, I put that area there, when it rains, here we get some flooding, and the animals, when they want to get some vitamin D during the day, they cannot access it, but they can go to that area there, because for it cannot float.
Okay.
Or flood.
Because also talk about a scenario where you said floor structures, down structures, have high chances of, diseases among others. And yet, doesn't the same apply to having an exercising ground? Because they're also on the ground.
Yes.
They are doing the poops, they're doing the urine.
Yes, the exercising ground, as I told you, that you have to double the space of the closed space needed for the goat. That means you can even do times 10. It depends on your land and what you really want.
But the rule is to double.
To double.
Okay.
Yes. That means that even if they are outside there, you have to clean it. You have to eliminate, as I told you, you have to eliminate the green matter such that the goats don't feed from there. It's what we are chasing away from the non-raised structures. But if your goats are on a raised structure, and your structure, the exercising ground is having the green matter, then your animals are going to get sick. They are going to get sick because you have not also put the conditions that must be in the exercising ground.
Okay.
So in all, we need hygiene.
Okay.
In all aspects.
Let's talk about the advantages of zero grazing over free range system. I don't know. What are the systems in goat keeping?
Basically, we have three. We have two, or you can do them at once. We have the zero grazing. Zero grazing is where you keep an animal inside the structure or a demarcated area, and you provide everything that it may need there minus living. Then the free range system, you leave the animal to go and feed on what it wants to feed in the area where they have to graze from. Anywhere they go to get the food. Now the difference or the advantage over the other, if at all you don't have enough land, or if at all you want your animals to gain weight very fast, then I advise you people to do zero grazing. Zero grazing helps in such a way that if at all you have made thorough research of what an animal needs to feed on, you have to balance its diet very well. Then for that, I assure you that zero grazing is very good for you, and you can opt for that. For those that have a lot of animals and have big chunks of land, then they can do the free range. Others do them at once. They decide to look for feeds for their animals before they leave for grazing, and after feeding, like at 3, they were feeding from morning, giving them silage, giving them hay. Then they decide their animals to just go and in the evening to have some feeding, and that one is free range system.
Okay.
So they are doing them at the same time.
Okay.
And that is the best one.
Mixing free range and zero grazing.
Yes, for someone who is having land.
Okay. Apart from the diseases, of course, diseases are a challenge as well. What other challenges do you have when it comes to goat farming?
The challenges, the workers,
okay,
they are a big challenge, and you have to supervise them. Some people actually, if at all their farms are very far, they put cameras. Like in my other 2 farms, I have cameras. I monitor my farms. I monitor the structure. I try to put the cameras on the structure to see if at all it was swept. I have to put the I had to put the camera on the kids to see how they are doing. For that, then it is a challenge for me to put in much money than trusting the workers.
Okay, perfect. Let's go talk about do goats need water?
Very much.
Okay. And also there's something called the mineral block. Is it very important, or I can opt not to give them the mineral block?
When the goats go out there and they graze, they will come back with very big bellies, but that does not mean that they are going to put on muscles very fast. Goats need some nutrients that are not in the pastures. Goats need vitamins, they need a lot of minerals, phosphorus and potassium, and all of those nutrients are found in the mineral block. Okay. And that, even if another thing is water, like human beings, we need water. Even the goat needs a lot of water. A goat, if at all it does not take well, then it might take between 3 liters a day to 5. Yes, then that one, you know that your goats really are doing well, and they have to take water. One of the things that if at all your goats are not taking water, the trick I can give you, you provide them with the mineral block. Okay. After linking, they are going to automatically drink that water, and you have to make sure that the mineral block is very near to the drinking troughs. When they are done linking, they are going to drink water, and eventually you are going to see goats performing very well. Okay,
let's talk about how do I know that my goat is ready for breeding, and how do I breed my goat? Do I just, leave it to loiter with the males?
First of all, a female goat shows the sign that I'm ready. Those signs are going on heat. Going on heat, there is certain fluids that they start bringing. But as I told you, the exotic really grow very fast. At 5 months, they are grown, and at 5 months, they can even come on heat. Okay. But if at all they come on heat at that age, you are not supposed to give them a male because their body is not well. If at all you see a goat, really the size, even if a layman, even if you don't know goat farming, you can see that this size won't be able to push the baby. So if at all you give it a male at that age, many of them get difficulty when they are producing, or they miscarriage, and they will miscarriage. Okay. So if at all the good time that you can give your goat, that is at 7 months and above. Okay.
So even if it doesn't show signs of, for example, in rabbit farming, for us, we don't wait for them to be on heat or something. Any time is breeding time. I mean, I could just wake up today, even if it's not on, you know, in the moods of having it, and then boom, it gets pregnant. That doesn't apply with the goats.
No, it applies at some extent, but for the goats, you know, a male has a smell. That smell, it usually urinates on the forehead, and it smells. So that smelling, it induces some hormones in the female goat and comes on heat. So if at all you bring in a male and those goats are 7, even if they're at 6, that's the reason why we separate those males, is because a male, when he's inside, it is going to induce, and all the females, many females will come on heat, and it just mates. So if at all you want to be ordered, you can separate those males aside and the female. And the time of breeding, and you know that this stock is ready for breeding, you can bring in a male. Anytime. In 1 week, every goat will come on heat, and they will start serving them.
Okay, and how do I make sure that they are all pregnant?
First of all, a goat, when it comes on heat, it takes 21 days to come back on heat. One sign that your goat really conceived or it is pregnant, in the first month, if at all it does not come back on heat, then that shows that it has really become pregnant. Okay. Yes. If at all some factors are kept constant, the factors of feeding, because if at all you are not feeding well your goats, it may not come back until for like 3 months. But if at all your feeding is constant, and really they are feeding the way they were feeding before you introduce the male, then if at all they don't come back on heat for that 1 month, then that is one of the signs that your goats are pregnant. Okay.
In rabbit farming, we do what we call palpating, where we touch the belly to feel the kids. Does it apply with goats as well?
That one comes when the pregnancy is at 3 months. Okay. That's when you can feel.
Any other signs in terms of increase in weight, increase in body weight or size?
For the first timers, for them, they will increase the belly. It will start coming, and you start seeing that really it is pregnant. For the goats that are produced more than once, you can see them when the belly is also increasing. But for the breasts, they will start increasing at 3 months to 4. Okay. There.
So a goat takes about 5 months to give birth, right?
Yes, 150 days.
Wow! In just 150 days, you have a new member added onto the farm. So let's as we wind up, let's talk about something that usually many people out there have questions for. Is there a market for goats? And if so, where is the market?
It is a very good question. But first of all, what I can tell you, that market for goats is grazing. Why? That every religion consumes goats. Some don't consume the pork, you see, but for the meat of goat, every religion consumes it. Every age or every age of a person consumes it. And If at all you go to rituals that people need goats. So the goats, first of all, we have two types of market. We have for the breeders and the slaughters. Those people who want to slaughter and those people who want to breed. If at all you want to capture all the market, then you have to be with quality animals. In this I mean that you have to make sure that if someone there needs a goat for breeding, you can serve them. If someone there needs a goat for slaughtering, you can as well serve them. But the market is everywhere. Even if you say that you are selling your goat, I usually visit abattoirs of Karere and meat packers, but on Sunday there are no trucks for goats. And the goats, they usually say that they are goldy because they are not there. So for that, if at all you look at the local market, we have not even reached the half of the demand. Yes.
So you're trying to say that the business is full of profits?
Yes.
And so somebody should actually join like yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. I don't need to dilute all the information that we've shared in this particular video. Ladies and gentlemen, we do come to the end of this session. My name is Dennis Duke Uganda. I've been chatting with the CEO of KI or Kimdi, farms. They do also construction of goat pens, rabbit houses. What else do you do?
The cattle.
Cattle feed.
And the poultry.
And the poultry as well. So please hit them up or do ask any questions on these numbers on the screen, and I'll be more than glad to lead them to you.
Even the pastures.
Even the pastures, they do the planting of the pastures. Exactly. So they can as well design your farm. If you're interested in in farm designs, please do reach us up and we shall be doing that for you, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, it's a goodbye. We love you so much. God bless you.